Hello, I am Jason Hahn, and welcome back to another manga discussion. Today, we are talking about Boruto 68, titled Scar. And I am joined with some fellow colleagues from Screen Rant. First, I am Jason Hahn. I write video game news for Screen Rant and also a huge manga fan. So I felt inspired to bring together fellow manga enthusiasts from Screen Rant who write amazing and very intricate articles dealing with fan speculation and new chapters. Definitely check out Screen Rant Comics section. But yeah, I'll go ahead and introduce our guest before diving in. Steven, you want to go first, man?
Yeah, like you said, I'm a comics writer over at Screen Rant. Mainly write about manga, but also do a lot of Sonic the Hedgehog, mainly the new IDW series, but I prefer Archie, and then also doing a lot of Beast Wars.
We might need to do a whole Sonic comics podcast sometimes
because don't even
no, just no. Don't ask. All right, Todd, you want to introduce yourself, man?
I'm Todd. Like Steven, I'm a comics writer. I mostly write about manga, Naruto mainly in the manga space, and Marvel comics. Let's say like Naruto's been what's got me into the world of Japan, anime, and manga. So I'm excited to have written about that a lot, and now I'll be talking about Boruto in the podcast. So this is really cool.
Hell yeah, man. Well, I'm glad you could be part of it. I, too, am a huge Naruto fan. I've said it in a few other discussions, but I originally started with Dragon Ball Z on Toonami and Yu Yu Hakusho and that heyday of wonderful anime after school. And then after that all finished up, I started getting into Naruto really hard. I actually was reading the manga before I was into it before everyone in the States was. I was really enjoying the manga weekly, and then when they got it translated into the States, not a huge fan of the English dub, but that Japanese dub though, those voice actors know how to get some sounds out of the bottom of their lungs, and it's about as epic as possible. I love it. But Naruto has been a very important series for me growing up. Just how well Kishimoto wrote everything and the overall. Really how the whole world needs to come together to take out a major threat. I feel like the whole story of Naruto is really a story of world peace and how we need to set aside our differences to work together, and the things that we could achieve if we all work together is worth that. What's the story I got from Naruto? Not so much from Boruto. We are 68 chapters into Boruto, and we've gotten some pretty interesting arcs. And I feel like this latest arc is sort of just getting started. I feel still. I don't feel like Code is a huge, compelling villain yet, especially coming after Ishin. Ishin was such a cool, well-designed villain, I thought, and I mean, we just spent so much time like building up to that and his reveal, and we've discussed previously how the series isn't really Naruto or Sasuke's anymore. For a while, I felt like it was just a true sequel to Naruto. Naruto and Sasuke were still like the main players. They had all the best fights, all the coolest moments. And now that they have both effectively been majorly nerfed, some of the plot can move along nicely. We are well focused on Boruto and Kawaki's struggles now against Code. And this chapter was really a lot of the dust settling. I felt like from the main conflict of Code just jumping into the town, and Kawaki blowing out Boruto's chest in front of his father, and Shikamaru, who is one of my favorite characters from the original series, still pulling some intelligent W's. I feel he's really seems to consistently be the level-headed guy and coming up with the best strategies, especially in this chapter. He kind of played Code like a fiddle, and but now we get the glorious Ida. Ida, is that her name?
I've been saying like Ada.
Ada. Okay.
Aida.
We can just call her a stand because she's essentially a JoJo stand with how her powers operate. She just instantly infatuates everybody around her who doesn't have the alien Akutsuki chakra or powers or blood. I don't remember which one they explained it, but they're supposed to be fully androids, right? Is this the Naruto android saga? I'm almost wondering if they're going to do a similar approach for Boruto as they did for Dragon Ball Z. The first arc was the major alien threat showing up and revealing that, oh no, you guys have had aliens. You know, the Akatsuki are essentially aliens, world conquerors who go around and eating planets for their own gain. And
their own tree of mites.
Sorry,
their own tree of mites, basically at the vine tree thing.
Absolutely,
another Dragon Ball thing.
Yeah, there's a lot of Dragon Ball parallels the further we get into this. First, we started with the aliens showing up and revealing that, you know, it's been a major part of the series, and then we moved on to them taking out, you know, the one that they're all fearing. Well, actually, we haven't quite gotten to that. The one panel that still haunts me from Boruto is when Isshin was explaining the code, you need to keep eating planets and then you'll eventually become, and they give us the Akatsuki God panel. And I don't know if you guys remember that one, but it was just like,
remember that.
Yeah, if you look up just Akatsuki God, it's this apparently the ultimate evolution of what these Akatsuki guys are after. And I can't remember specifically which chapter it was, but it was like them revealing what the big bad would look like at the end of this series. And it just seemed like such a weird thing to throw into the middle of it because we're so far away from that sort of thing. And also, I mean, can code
is it like
get to that level? Yeah, I'll put the panel up for the podcast.
I remember that.
It just seems so otherworldly and big and crazy, and especially once Code gets his limiters taken off, we don't really know what to expect from here. But it's been an interesting series to follow because as somebody who read Naruto weekly, I mean, that series just got as big and powers as large and ridiculous as possible. And it's just like, how do you follow that up? It's kind of like at the end of Dragon Ball, you know, they end at a point where they're able to blow up a city. And they're like, okay, well, how do we top that? Well, how about we have bad guys that can blow up planets? And it just keeps getting higher and higher and higher. And do you guys think Boruto is going to get to that level?
Probably. I don't know, but I feel like it will. I'm sure they'll come up with something. They'll figure out a way to do it. But as of right now, I can't even imagine what that would be.
Yeah. A Rasengan the size of the moon. I mean, that would be pretty visually pleasing, I guess. But yeah, what do you guys think about this latest chapter, 68?
I mean, if how about Todd? You can go first.
Well, I thought it was kind of like a mellower chapter than the previous chapters. Let's see. I think I'm seeing like just a lot of parallels between Boruto and Naruto, because it seems like Boruto is just like Naruto now in the sense he has a being inside of him that grants him immense power. But then it also seems like they're kind of setting up. This might just be me like looking into it too much, but it seems like they're setting up another like Kaguya fight with how like everybody was under the influence of the world tree except for Naruto, Sasuke, Sakura, and Kakashi, all against Kaguya. And with Aida's power, it seems like Boruto and Kawaki are going to be the only ones capable of actually standing against her and fighting her if she does end up being a villain, because everybody else is going to be unable to do anything to her.
As a refresher for anybody who is a little fuzzy on her powers, she's a cyborg that essentially infects everybody within a certain radius to be suddenly infatuated with her. So they instantly fall in love with her. They don't want to attack her. They pretty much just want to do whatever she wants them to do. And it's a scary power, honestly. Like I am incredibly interested to see how it'll affect characters like Naruto and Shikamaru, who are, you know, a lot more level-headed and fully mature, and they definitely have their families and their roots and everything that they've grown up with through the 700 chapters that were in Naruto. It's just all going to be thrown away for this character who just winks at them. And then suddenly they'll do anything she tells them to do. Like, what if she tells, Naruto to kill Kawaki or something? Like, we haven't really seen the limits of her power, especially with somebody with a strong will of fire. But I don't know, everything we've been told about her so far, that will of fire is about to get a good old bucket of water onto it. And I'm really excited to see how they handle such a power, because you can't just punch your way out of that technique. Like, that's going to require some brains. And Kawaki's sleeping right now. I think one of my favorite bits of this chapter was Shikimaru asking Naruto, like, "Are you good? Are you okay with us, taking care of Kawaki because he killed your son in front of you?" And he's like, "Yeah, we're fine. We're just gonna have a nice long talk when he wakes up." I don't think we're gonna get that talk, especially with Shikimaru doing what he did. He knew that Code was looking for Armando, so he specifically set up a nice little trap, and Code decided to take advantage of that, and now we're right back into a major battle in the middle of Konoha.
Yeah, so I guess I'll jump in. We were mentioning Aida's power. So one of the big draws for me in Boruto, like I don't want to say skimming over it, but I haven't been really invested until Aida's character got introduced. So I've been really focusing in on her.
And that power she's got. Where'd you win?
And what I found interesting about this last chapter kind of added more depth to her character, just because, like, as you were saying, her power is, anyone who's close to her become, or as she calls it, she steals their heart. But the only people who are able to withstand that power are those, how do you pronounce it? Akatsuki.
Perfect.
Yeah, members of their clan. And what was interesting, so because of that, she becomes overly infatuated with, Kawaki and also Boruto, because, they're partly of that, because of the karma. But what's interesting, though, she obviously chose Kawaki just because, she wants to experience what she, terming it.
I was going to say he's hotter, but.
Well, yeah, like this original love thing, but it's all based on the fact that because of them, she can experience that regular or ordinary love. But now with this latest twist, Boruto, he's 100% Akatsuki. So wouldn't Aida be completely obsessed with Boruto now? Because with Kawaki, since he's only partly, of that, he would still be under her spell to some degree. Mm-hmm. But Boruto would be completely, 100%, like his love, if he had it, would be 100% genuine, which I think is very interesting that she's still focusing on Kawaki despite that, because even though her entire existence is driven on, finding that ordinary love, and she would only be able to get that with Boruto, but she is still focusing on Kawaki. And I think that's fascinating, just adds another depth to her character. It's like, why are you even willing? I mean, she even calls Boruto, like she calls him like his, when she's talking to Code, it's like, "Oh, your sacrifice," or whatever. Like, mm-hmm. She's just like, throwing him to the wind, like she just doesn't really care about him. But when, ironically, he is the key to her, unlocking that, what she wants more than anything else.
I could be wrong, but I thought when this was kind of all starting, I thought she did give kind of a small hint that she is at least open to the idea of I don't know. That's another thing about her powers is she sees everything.
Yeah, that clairvoyance.
Right? Yeah. Clairvoyance, even if she's hundreds of miles away, or kilometers away from anybody who's listening to this, not in the good old US of A, she can just see everything all the time, unless I forget if there's some trick to that, but she just always know what's going on. She's like one of the manga readers. She's just able to see all the fights, whatever is going on all the time. But I could be wrong, but I remember her showing at least a little bit of openness towards getting to know Boruto a little bit more. And
what was interesting too, because it wasn't, because I actually had to go back like before I started writing about this, like just to see if she actually chose one or the other. And she just makes the switch randomly. Like it was open to either or. And then at some point, like just randomly, like it wasn't explained, like, but she was like, she decided on Kawaki. Like he's like, Boruto is going to be your sacrifice, the 10 tails, and Kawaki is mine. And even too, I mean, like when Boruto was thought to have died, she didn't even flinch. Like she was just like, yeah. Like she just told kids like, oh yeah, he's dead probably.
Yeah.
And it's just really interesting that, you know, I want to know like why she's still so infatuated with Kawaki when Boruto is obviously would be the better choice for her. It just kind of just adds that depth. Like he is what he is the person that will be able to take her, you know, have her achieve her dreams, but she is choosing another character completely who wouldn't be able
The bad boy.
yeah. So I mean, like, kind of just adds to
Girls like bad boys. I feel like that's
Sakura Sasuke. Yeah. It's she's the new Sakura, but more useful. I personally am not a huge Sakura hater, but that just seems to be the hate train everyone loves to jump on. But yeah, this chapter ended with her entering the city, and she's also got her creepy little brother with the negation powers. Yeah. And that's actually probably one of the more interesting, because I mean, Ida, Lady Cyborg's powers are very interesting, and it just seems so like such like a dominating power. Her little brother, who I can't remember his name at the top of my head,
Damon.
Yeah. Damon is actually like an interesting threat that I'm really curious to see what sort of strategies they come up with to negate that. I think Shikamaru will be able to come up with something pretty cool for that.
Just thought of something actually. If I can jump in here.
Absolutely.
So like noticing that this is like focusing on Shikamaru a bit, like this could just be because this is what's happening, but if this is focusing on Shikamaru, you remember how in Shippuden Shikamaru fought Hidan, who had the ability of hurting himself, and whatever he did to himself would affect other people. Mm-hmm. What if Shikamaru is like, let me go unbury Hidan and have him fight against
Damon? Man. He just has like Hidan's head in his pocket. He's just like, all right, let's use this. Oh boy, I would love that. I'm unfortunately just a manga reader when it comes to Boruto, but I don't know if in the anime they like had a Hidan arc.
I just said Shippuden just for like timeline's sake. Yeah, it was one.
I know what you meant.
Kakuzu and Hidan.
Right. I just don't know if they've brought up the Hidan thing in Boruto at all yet.
Yeah. No, I don't think he's even been talked about since his apparent death, quote unquote.
Speaking of, we also got the reveal of who is in the big coffin that Armando has been working on. And it's a Delta. It's a new version of Delta. I was a big fan of her design, and we didn't really get to know enough about her character for me to be, you know, like, oh my God, that means that this plot thread can happen. But it's pretty cool to see her back into it. And I have the feeling she's going to be immune to Ida's charms. So I think we're going to be getting some pretty cool cyborg on cyborg action. Which is all over the internet if you want to Google that.
I can believe it.
But yeah, she dominates Code in the small interaction that they have. And it just kind of goes more into how scary is Code really supposed to be? Because as I brought up in the beginning of this discussion, it's like he was pretty easily overpowered. I felt, and almost every fight we've seen him in so far. And they've just done such a good job of talking up the previous villains and making them seem so much more powerful. For me personally, I still don't think any of these guys could take on a full-powered Madara. Like, they just built up that villain and his powers, so they made him such a terrifying villain that even when Kagi ended up showing up at the end of the series, which I still don't love. I really wish. Naruto is my favorite series, but I think that they could have done the ending better. I almost feel like, hey, we've got a great idea for a sequel series. So how about we just have this? We've created this Kaguya villain that will just come out. Like I was really hoping that they were going to have it be Madara, because I still think Madara would have been able to take out Kaguya personally.
I think that happened because like near the end of Naruto, Kishimoto put out a thing saying like he made Madara too powerful and he had no idea how to beat him, like how he would beat him like logically. So I think that's how Kaguya got pulled into it, but okay. I don't know for sure.
That would make sense. I was reading the chapters as they come out. I haven't read like the volume side notes and stuff, so there might be more clarification on all that. But in a previous discussion, we've kind of brought up that Boruto almost feels like the direct-to-DVD sequel to Naruto. It's not quite as well thought out and as deeply layered. But Kishimoto is apparently writing it now. He's not drawing it, which is pretty obvious. But I'm wondering to what extent he's still writing it, because it doesn't feel as layered and as complex as Naruto did, especially as a series. We kind of get the whole like, oh, Boruto's strong because he didn't work for it. He got the Momomosuke power up, and he's just happens to be the son of the Hokage and all these things. It just doesn't feel, so many things don't feel earned. They feel given.
I mean, Naruto was the same way too. I mean, the majority, I mean, until we found that he's the reincarnation of, I forgot his name, but I mean, yeah, I mean, Naruto, I mean, he didn't really earn his powers either. I mean, he got most of it from Kurama, and then
well, I don't know. We might have to set up a whole debate discussion.
Yeah, I would say like he had that power from Kurama, yes, but he like it was like it wasn't all just given to him at one time. He had to actually work to like control it and then like go through the different stages of it.
Because I'd almost say until like halfway through the series, he was punished anytime for using it. Like he almost killed Sakura during his fight against Orochimaru when he had the four tails. I think it was just three tails. And then when he first had the powers awakened during the Haku fight, he was able to snap himself out of it, but he almost like punched Haku's face off before he realized that, oh, hey, yeah, you're that kid I met before. But yeah, I get what you mean. Naruto is definitely kind of a later revealed, a blessed, reincarnation sort of character. But I feel like we got to see his struggles and him train. We got to see the training arcs and all that. And we've never really got that for Boruto. We haven't seen the training. We haven't seen, the struggle to get that. Everything just seems to come naturally to Boruto, which I almost feel like for me personally, Boruto is one of the least interesting characters of this entire story. I'm all about Naruto and Sasuke's journey still. I'm almost more interested to see Code's story than I am Boruto's, even though he keeps on being talked up as like, oh, he's stronger than anything we've seen before, and that hasn't necessarily been proved, but he just seems to be that lonely kid trying to get acceptance, and not quite as well written as other things. Like the bad guys in other series like Shigaraki and My Hero Academia, I'm definitely more interested to see his resolution than I am like Code's. But Kawaki even Kawaki's going through a lot of transition right now. Like he just had to do what he thought was the best thing by killing Boruto, and since then he's been taking a nap. So he's taking a nap while Ida and Damien and everything's about to go down. So I'm guessing he's going to wake up very soon.
And also, too, I mean, like just to add to what you were saying earlier, I mean, they're like how everything is, Boruto isn't working for his power. Like they recently revealed, I don't know if it was in this chapter or the last one, but basically they're saying the real power of the Akatsuki is that it's an like amalgamation of all of like their fighting experience. So when you truly awaken your power, you'll immediately learn from the experience from the last one, and the last one from the last one. So it's like you just are suddenly an amazing fighter with millions of years of experience.
Yeah, which is a wild thing to give like your main protagonist. Like, okay, you
Mhm.
suddenly have the experience of thousands of years of warriors that we have no knowledge of or experience of. So it's almost giving them a opportunity to give them any power that they want.
Yeah, pretty.
um, we just finished a Jujutsu Kaisen conversation, and kind of the same thing with that series, where the power dynamic and the abilities are so well thought out and diverse that the artist or the writer can pretty much just come up with whatever he wants to fit the service of the plot at that point. And we're getting further and further away from our understanding of chakras and natural energies and stuff like that. Um,
Yeah,
so
like you were saying, used to be so diverse. Yeah, very intricate, very
yeah,
intricate. Yeah,
absolutely. And since Boruto started, especially with the introduction of these new cyborg powers that are just random and whatever they want them to be, it's entertaining for sure, but it's just definitely getting further and further away from the power dynamic and everything that we learned in Naruto. So it's setting itself apart more and more every chapter, I feel, but I'm still enjoying the ride.
yeah,
I
especially since Aida came in.
Yeah.
I feel like they're trying to like really drive home the fact that like technology is advancing. I think that's really what they're
Yeah,
trying to do with all the cyborgs and the scientific ninja tools. Um, yeah, I just think that that's like they're trying to like they want to keep that Naruto, like this is the sequel to Naruto, but they also want to have it stand apart from it.
Absolutely. And a lot of people would almost, I'm one of them, think that the jump from Naruto as a teenager, where they're like, hey, what kind of TV shows do you watch? TV? What's TV? And we've within like 20 years jumped from people not knowing what a TV would be to, hey, have you played that newest game? No, but I got the trading cards. Oh, cool. Let me go and transfer those to you through our or ninja internet. And I'm just like, this is a jump, guys. This is, could we just have told like another story? Like
Ninja Net.
Ninja Net. Oh boy. Ah, that's
I'll
that's
see
gotta be
myself
a
out now.
yeah, that's gotta be the name of a band or something now. I'm not sure. But yeah, one of the last couple panels that really stood out for me was Ida's transition into Konoha. She just like slowly creeps out of Code's weird leather strap teleportation things, and it's one thing that keeps me in it is as you said, Stephen, Ida's introduction just like adds a whole nother dynamic power wise and all that stuff. But I'm a huge fan of her design. It is just so striking compared to everybody else's. Like the curves and colors of her hair and those very short shorts, but those eyes, just anytime she's in any panel, it's immediately what my eyes go to. They did a great job with her character, and it's just it's so cool to have a character that is not um, intimidating, like from a physical standpoint. She is just intimidating in everything else, uh, which is something that not a lot of other shonen jumps I feel do. A lot of manga series, we got to have the stronger guy. Say like Dragon Ball Z, it's always got to be a stronger villain who's just crazier, or something like that. Um, and same thing with Naruto and Boruto. It's just been consistently like, okay, this guy hits harder than the last guy. We got to be really careful. And we just haven't seen a villain like this before. And well, I don't know. How do you guys think it might resolve itself after this newest chapter? What do you think will happen next?
Todd.
Yeah, I think I actually just wrote about this. I think it got published yesterday, but
Awesome.
I think it's going to get revealed in the next chapter that she's Amato's daughter.
Whose daughter? Armando's?
Amato's, yeah.
Amato's. Oh,
Because
okay.
I remember, I think it's like, I forget what chapter it is, but Amato is talking to Naruto, and he says that he has a daughter who died 12 years ago. And then a little bit after that, it like cuts directly to Ada being in like her tube or whatever. And then there's I forgot all of it. all the evidence, but there's a CBR article that talks about like all the evidence of how Sheik is Amato's daughter. And then she also brings up the way the chapter ends. What's up?
No. I was just gonna say, he's also the one who made her the way she is, where she's why she has that ability to steal everyone's hearts. Like his modifications are what made her the way she is.
That'd be kind of a weird thing to give your daughter.
Yeah, I think what happened was some people are saying like he didn't realize he was turning her into a weapon. So when Ishiki like ordered her to be killed or whatever it was, he was like, well, I'm gonna go with that, not because I want my daughter to die, but I don't want you to like use her as a weapon. And I think that caused him to leave after that.
Yeah, which would also
I'm butchering the theory, but I put the article in the chat if you guys wanted to check that out.
I'll totally check that out, man. I might post that in the description as well.
The way the chapter ends, Amato's like thrown off by her showing up. Oh, yeah. He's not infatuated. He's like, oh my God, you're here.
Oh, that's a good point too. I didn't even think about how he's going to react to all this, but I don't see any reason why she couldn't be his daughter. That would make too much sense. But yeah, same thing for Damien. If he is in fact her little brother and not just, they want that relationship to seem like a sister-brother relationship, but they're not actually blood related. I think it'd almost be too perfect and too set up for Damien for it to not be that. I could absolutely see Damien being like, oh, come on, Dad. Like that could be how they reveal it. Mm-hmm. Yeah, that's a great theory. I could see that absolutely being it. And it would add a whole nother layer to how her powers would work on Armando because if Shikimaru is about to be useless, which is essentially what Ada's powers does, is it just makes everybody who it affects useless against her. Maybe. We've only gotten a small glimpse of how it really works in practice. So, but as I said, we might be getting a whole bucket of cold water on the Wheel of Fire, and the only people that can stand against it are people infected or have Akatsuki blood. So I really like the parallel you drew between the ending of Naruto, where it's only select few even have a chance to react to this sort of thing. But yeah, Delta being jumped in. Previously when Delta fought Naruto, he had Kurama, so he was able to easily overpower her. But at this point, he doesn't have Kurama, so we might even be able to say Delta might be one of the most formidable fighters that we have at our disposal at this moment. But our lack of character development and knowledge about her background almost make me feel like she could just get blasted away in the next chapter, and it might have been just a red herring. But I'm wondering if we'll find out more about her. Wasn't that one of those things too, where after she was defeated, we went to Armando and he had another lab with another one of her? Didn't we have a few different copies of her? I might be remembering that incorrectly. I don't know if you guys remember that too.
That's vaguely familiar. I'll have to go back and look at that.
Yeah. Because there seems to be a lot of things that they plant little seeds for that could eventually be something, and then it doesn't end up being something. Yeah, I don't really see the conflict exploding more than the situation is now. I think all the cards are on the table and everything is about to really blow up for this arc. Everything that has been leading up to is about to happen. So I'm pretty excited about next couple chapters and seeing how big this conflict is about to get. Queen Ida, she just infects all of Konoha and will just become the queen she'll be the next Hokage. And Kawaki and Boruto will go have an adventure somewhere else and everyone will live happily ever after. Is not a theory I've read anywhere. But yeah, I don't know. That's kind of where I'm thinking is going to happen next is, this is all about to explode and go over. But yeah, last we had Boruto hanging out with his team, Sarada and Mizuki, and they're bound to show up into this conflict because everyone's about to be useless except Delta. I think so. Yeah, we'll see what happens next chapter. Any other thoughts on this one, you guys?
I mean, the only thing is, on my end, I'm just waiting for Kawaki and Aida to finally meet. I mean, she's been pushing that for a while now, and that's why I got so mad a few chapters ago, like when Kawaki, he was like, Code, I'll go with you. You said there's someone who wants to meet me. I'll meet them. I was like, yes, bring them together. And then Boruto comes and that whole fight ensues. I was like, that's all I want. I just want more Aida and Kawaki. And it's that whole thing, that whole fight. I just felt like I was just wading through it. It's like, when are you going to get together? So I'm looking. That's what I'm looking forward to, is when Kawaki eventually wakes up and meets Aida. Like that's what I'm waiting for. That's what I want.
Well, yeah, another thing we got in this chapter was Boruto kind of saying that it's almost setting up that he has more control of Momomosuke's powers now. So he's going to be a much more capable fighter from now on, and we're not going to have to so much worry about, that other personality jumping in. Amando, was worried about that, but then Boruto is like, you know what? I don't think we ought to worry about that anymore. And with the main character saying that, I almost feel like there's more weight to it. I'm wondering if we're going to get a very similar relationship that Naruto and Kurama did, where Boruto and Momomosuke are going to, kind of become more codependent on each other and more understanding of each other, and to kind of see where Boruto's powers can flourish. I just got done with our Jujutsu Kaisen conversation, which is the exact opposite. They're not, to avoid anybody who's not, all the way caught up on that series. Even through season 1, you're consistently like, is Itadori going to get good with Sukuna? Are they going to become buddies? And something big happens, especially in this next season of anime that's going to be coming out, that is pretty much, Sukuna is not a redeemable character. He is a very bad dude, and we've kind of we haven't crossed that point. I feel like with Momomosuke, where our Momomosuke, that he's not so far gone that he's going to become eventually a likable character by the end of this series. And especially with this chapter, Boruto saying, I don't think we got to worry about that anymore, just kind of gives more ammo to that theory, in my opinion. So I'm interested to see Boruto is got to make an appearance in this next chapter in this conflict. And you're really curious about Ida's interaction with Kawaki. I'm pretty interested to see Boruto's introduction or conversation with her.
Yeah.
How they frame up that relationship, because I think with a little bit more time, I think Ida might also grow some attraction towards Boruto because he's a very strong personality.
And she has like expressed, like there was like a really awesome panel, like when Boruto was like, I'm gonna defend you, Kawaki, you're my bro. And Aida's like, oh my god, that's so hot. He's like, yeah. So I know there's definitely some attraction there, and it's again, it's like one of those reactions like that where it's just her character becomes that much more likable. So because there's not that much romance in Boruto, which is annoying, and in a lot of series too, like Jujutsu Kaisen. What makes a good fighting manga to me is when it has a good balance of romance, and that's what's been missing in a lot of series.
Yeah, I mean, even just romance by itself, it's more of the strengthening of a bond between two characters. And when you introduce romance into a series, it just kind of raises the bar for how strong of a bond between two characters can really be. And in a series, unfortunately, is one thing about One Piece is the Oda, the creator of One Piece, has gone out and said, I'm not going to have any romances in my series because I've got so many other things I need to focus on and a whole world to tell.
Why don't you? Well, actually, like the few things I know about One Piece, like I know when I was like reading on some characters, apparently like, there was some queen or prince or something who's like obsessed with Luffy or something. Like he's like pushing her away. Yeah, I don't know.
Yeah, I mean, there's definitely hints of it. There's just not a focus on romance in One Piece. There's fans draw enough of it, I'm sure. And yeah, that's kind of one thing that I feel like could make some of these series even better, is if they had bonds raised up to that, because then if one of those characters, if they have to fight or if one of them dies, it just sets up the opportunity to have a lot more drama happen in a story. And I'm really interested that this could lead to that in Boruto. Like, if she ends up getting feelings for Boruto also, then what does that mean for the plan? Like, the whole plan of Kawaki is to sacrifice Boruto or Kawaki, and Ida has said, no, you can't do that for Kawaki because I got the hops for him. And well, if she starts getting feelings for Boruto, then Code is just out of luck. She's the
one in charge. I mean,
yeah,
it's whatever she says goes. Yeah, I mean, like as she said, like when she was first introduced, it's like, you're going to be alive as long as you are useful to me, and as soon as you're no longer useful, you're done. Sorry about that.
Right, which is frightening and terrifying, because we've only seen her powers of clairvoyance and being able to have people infatuated with her to do what she wants them to do. But that doesn't mean that she can't hold her own in a fight. And I think we might be seeing that. Oh, sorry.
I was just saying, we don't know what other powers she has. It's only what's been revealed to us so far.
Yeah, absolutely. So, I mean, we might only have a tip of the iceberg of what she's capable of. And I definitely think we're about to see more of it next chapter, in chapter 69. And we'll be talking about that after it comes out April 20th. Yeah, I think we might be wrapping up this conversation pretty soon. Do you guys have any closing thoughts? Todd, you want to go first?
Chapter 69 comes out on April 20th on 420.
On 420, hell yeah, bro.
That's funny.
Yeah, we'll be getting a new Boruto and Dragon Ball Super around that time. I'm actually seeing a show in Chicago on that day too, so it's going to be a good day.
I just have one last thing I wanted to mention about back to the romance thing before we go.
Yeah, please.
So Kishimoto, another thing Kishimoto has said, like, is that he sucks at writing romance parts. So if he's writing Boruto now, this could be like his way of like, all right, let me actually try to make a romance story that works. Mm-hmm. And then we'll see what happens from there.
Well, I mean, if he is the one writing it, I like the way if he's writing, like, I love how he's portraying Aida, like her obsessions with, with Boruto and Kawaki. And it's just the whole situation that she's in, like, where she has this curse. She hates it because she wants original love. I mean, it's very compelling. So, I mean, maybe he just doesn't know what he's capable of.
Yeah, right. Well, yeah, it's almost that's one big thing a lot of people, and I can't really argue with them against it, is he doesn't necessarily write a lot of compelling female characters throughout this Naruto series. Yeah. I mean, Sakura and Hinata both had great moments, but just as on a consistency level, their thoughts and aspirations never really felt fully realized. And I kind of feel like we're making up for that with Ida. She is compelling, interesting, intimidating, all the things that I felt were lacking from a lot of female characters previously in the whole Naruto series. And even leading up to this in Boruto, there was a small arc where we got some good stuff with Sarada, especially, well, actually, I would even say that was before Boruto. That was kind of that small arc that was at the end of Naruto, or was that Boruto, where Sarada gets kidnapped and there's the guy with all the Sharingan eyes, and it ended up not being.
I think that was like it was just a one shot. It's canon, yeah. But it was just a one shot, I believe.
Yeah, I felt like her character got a lot of great development and focus in that one. It was the weird first time she met her dad, because My theory, my theory after the end of Naruto was Sasuke was out traveling the world, restarting the Uchiha clan and hooking up with chicks all around the world. But that is yet to happen. We haven't had a bunch of illegitimate Sasuke children show up yet.
That's awesome. I like that.
Yeah, I thought it would be pretty cool.
That's the story I want now.
Yeah, exactly. But no, he's got to be a good husband, and we have to establish morals in this bankrupt society.
Such a jerk before. I mean, I think that's one of the why they're focusing on him being a husband. I mean, he really mistreated Sakura, and like in Sakura too. I mean, like going back to what you were saying before, how the female characters aren't well developed. I mean, they're also sidelined quite a bit. I mean, Hinata is always like, "Oh, you stay home. You're the woman," that type of thing. And Sakura. I mean, she's she's obsessed with Sasuke, even all the times he's mistreated her. And it's like that's another reason why I like Aida so much. I actually wrote about this too. Like,
oh, good.
Even like her infatuation with Boruto and Kawaki, it actually empowers her. When before with Sakura, her romance with Sasuke took power away from her. So it's kind of like a good way, just stop mistreating your women characters,
Absolutely. It's the difference of in both Hinata and Sasuke are just or Sasuke Sakura. Hinata and Sakura are consistently like, oh boy, I really want to be with that person. I hope they'll let me be with them.
Exactly. Yeah.
Compared to Ida, just like, I want to be with them. I'm going to be with them. Like, it's just such a difference. Like it is just such a major difference when writing a character of being like passive versus aggressive, and it's a much stronger fit, I feel, for this part of the story, and we'll see where they go from here. But we'll go ahead and kind of do our sign-offs. I'm Jason Hahn, and this has been Mega Manga Mondays, Boruto discussion, chapter 68. I hope you guys have enjoyed it. Please subscribe to the channel, and we're going to have new episodes for series coming out every Monday. And check out, I also have another YouTube channel called Honzy and Friends. We play comedic Let's Plays of video games. We just had an episode of Elden Ring come out. We stream and all kinds of stuff. Check it out if you like video games and comedy. And also Screen Rant. We got plenty of great articles and video game news, comic news, and definitely check it out. Todd, you got anything you want to plug, man?
Yeah, everything you just said, I'll ditto that.
Oh, awesome. Ditto.
And for me, I'll just say, I usually want to point out new manga series. Actually, since going off our whole discussion on romance, another reason why you should check out the series, DanDaDan, perfect blend of crazy fighting sequences with the right amount of romance. Like it's perfect. Like the whole infatuation between Momo and Akaran, it is almost drives the plot more than all the insanity that goes on in battles. Like it's over the top manga with the right amount of romance. Perfect stuff. Check it out.
Oh, very cool. You can check that out on the Shonen Jump app, especially Naruto and Boruto and everything we've been talking about. You can check it out on there. Support the series you love, because those artists and writers are working really hard to make you smile. So please support them. I think that'll about do it for this episode of Mega Manga Monday, Boruto discussion. And we'll talk to you guys next time for chapter 69. Or check out plenty of the other discussions for any other series that you're into. We got a lot coming out, so it's a good time to be a manga fan. But thanks for your time tonight, guys, and hope you have a good one. Peace.